Aion Classic have huge diversity of classes, and each class have unique gameplay style with weapons and armor specific for that class. However, some classes are amazing in PvP, but not so good in PvE, and vice versa. So in today's video you will see part of my live stream and find out main information about the best PvP classes of Aion Classic. Before we start, let me just say subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Twitch to see more of MMORPG content and of course Aion Classic content in the future. I am live streaming every evening about 7 o'clock Central European time, so join me to see some gameplay and find out what is happening in MMORPG and PC gaming world. Let's go for Spirit Master. And regarding other classes of Aion, when we are ready talking about other classes, to give you general review of power of classes within update, let's say 1.5, 2.0 starting updates of Aion Classic. Let's start with warrior kind of classes. There are two classes which can wear plate armor. Here we have in front of us Gladiator and here is Templar. Both of these classes absolutely amazing classes. Regarding early patch notes, I wouldn't say they are still on the peak of its power. Regarding PvP and PvE, both of these classes need to have really good endgame gear, especially Templar. So let's start with Templar. You can see here female version of the Templar. Templar is amazing class to play. However, it goes for any class in Aion. Of course, you need to have a good gear. However, for Templar, that is something very specific. You need to have absolutely best gear in game. That means, for example, if you play Sorcerer, you don't need to have the best gear in game. You can still pull this through. If you have Ranger, you don't need to have absolutely the best gear in game. You will be able to play decently. However, Templar, you cannot play decently without absolutely best gear in game, right? And that requires lots of time, right? Other than that, this is the main tank of the game. However, in PvP, I have seen Templars crushing other classes. Any class basically Templar can beat if it's played on correct way and if it has really good gear, right? So I have seen Templars killing every other class. So without any doubt, if you think that Templar doesn't have damage, you are wrong. Right away, to be clear. In PvE, of course, it will not have damage. However, in PvP, it can have an insane damage and it can kill basically any class. So Templar, beautiful class to play. However, don't forget about this. It will require lots of time to get best gear in game. If you don't have that, Templar is not viable to play. Another class, plate kind of armor class. This class I have played mostly within the last 10 years. Gladiator, plate armor, same as Templar. You will need extendable weapon. That is mandatory thing. And that is, I would say, the biggest issue with this class. Because if you want to be viable in PvP, especially in PvP, but also in PvE, you need to have extendable weapon, which you will probably get, we will see from where, but probably from Draupnir Cave, Bakarma weapon. To get that weapon, you will need 200 up to 300 runs of that dungeon. And maybe even then you will not get it. I will repeat that to you. You will need maybe 200 up to 300 runs of that dungeon. And that is insane. So if you want to play Gladiator, I can highly recommend to you this class. You'll be very strong against the Templar, other Gladiator. You'll be very strong against Assassin, Ranger. You'll be good against Chanters. However, you will be very, very weak against Cloth kind of classes. So you'll be weak against Sorcerer and Spirit Master. Gladiator is an amazing class to play. Lots of AoE skills. Like I said, mandatory thing is extendable weapon. So play this class if you have lots of time. If you don't have time, it will be a problem. Because you will need to run countless runs of different dungeons. Probably one dungeon, probably Draupnir Cave, to get that extendable weapon and to gear up this character. Other than that, absolutely powerful and beautiful class. And not that much strong at the start, I would say, of Aion Classic. Little bit later, after update 2.0, it's getting much stronger, right? So Aion Classic classes regarding that, regarding PvP power, and regarding PvE also. Gladiator is very viable. It will make insane amount of damage. But don't forget, like I said, in PvP, you'll be very weak against Cloth kind of classes, which is kind of natural. Every class of Aion have anti-class. So Gladiator is anti-class of Assassin and Ranger and the Chanter, let's say it. However, Sorcerer and Spirit Master are anti-classes of Plates, of Templar and Gladiator. Templar, not that much. Templar can actually survive Sorcerer and Spirit Master to some point and even to beat them. Gladiator, very hardly, even with extendable weapon. Let's go further with priests. Here we have two priest classes. One of them, first you can see here, is cleric. Currently you can see cleric with mace. This is healing kind of class. You will heal, yeah, basically in group PvP and in PvE dungeons. You will need lots of sets. That is negative thing about this class, right? So this is amazing class to play, right? A powerful class. You can play it on DPS setup, you can do that. However, you can also play it on hybrid setups, something in between healing and damage, right? However, people will require from you to heal. So let's not lie to each other here, right? This is healing kind of class. You will need to heal in PvP. A good thing about this class is that you'll be able to play solo lots of things, because obviously you can heal yourself, right? You don't need pots that much and everything. Very economic kind of class. You will not need to buy any pots. However, negative thing about this side, it will require lots of time to get different kind of sets. You will need 3 or 4 or maybe even more sets, right, of gear to play different kind of content. And that requires lots of time. I remember clerics which were playing with me during the last 10 years, when I was looking inventory of different clerics, they had like 5 sets in their inventory. That's insane, right? And you need to enchant all of these sets. You need to put mana stones, which is not easy. So cleric, healing class of Aion, viable in PvP against any other class almost. Cleric can beat any other class basically. Amazing class in PvP. If played right, it's insane class to play. Really, really beautiful class to play. However, on the end of the day, healer. Don't forget about that. And another priest is Chanter, my favorite class also after Gladiator, my second favorite class. This is support kind of class and not a pure healer. This is kind of a class which will give you lots of buffs, mantras, very viable for PvP and for PvE. In PvP, Chanter, not right now on the start also, I would say it's not that powerful at this moment at the launch of Aion Classic. However, later basically Chanter can beat any class. After update 3.0, 2.5, I have seen Chanters destroying every other class. So this is jack of all trades, I would say, right? This class is needed in a group gameplay, PvP gameplay, and in PvE dungeons because of buff. And it will not be enough for Chanter to heal, only Chanter. However, it can give lots of support to cleric, right? So a Chanter is needed, but what is important to say, only 1 Chanter per group. That's enough. 2 Chanters, no. That's not an option. However, for example, you can have 2 Gladiators in the group, or 2 Rangers, or 2 Sorcerers. However, 2 Chanters in one group, no. That's a big no, right? In 1 versus 1 PvP, amazing class. This class can beat any other class, if played right, of course, and with proper gear. And what else to say except also, yeah, economic kind of class. Why? You will not need healing potions. This class can heal itself and some other person right in group, and you'll need maybe mana potions because it consumes lots of mana. Other than that, very economic class. It will save you a lots of kina. Also, this class doesn't need mandatory extendable weapon. It should get extendable weapon. Let's say it would be good to have, but even without extendable weapon, it's amazing class to play. So Chanter, another priest support class, right? Amazing class of Aion Classic. Not that much powerful at the start regarding PvP in generally, but later really amazing. And now let's talk about 2 scouts. I will start here actually with Ranger, which is probably the best class for PvP on the start of Aion Classic, right? Maybe somebody would say Spirit Master, but I don't agree. Spirit Master is still not that much powerful, right? Sorcerer, I'll talk a little bit later about Sorcerer. It's a very powerful class, right? But Ranger, in my opinion, probably the most viable class for PvP because it's a ranged class, physical kind of damage, using bow as main weapon, leather kind of armor, same as assassin, beautiful skills, fast animation, lots of burst. So if you like to play PvP, but not only PvE, right? Regarding PvE also, it's very viable class. It can make lots of damage. Regarding anti-classes, basically Ranger anti-class would be Gladiator. Gladiator and Templar would be able to kill Ranger, and Ranger can kill lots of mages, right? Sorcerer, Spirit Master, also priests, right? Chanter and Cleric. So regarding PvP, I would say probably within top 3 classes, maybe top 2 classes is Ranger in early patch notes of Aion Classic. That's important to say. Later, Chanter wasn't that high on that ranking list. It was never low. Chanter was always a Chanter. Ranger was always strong. However, at early days, right, it was the best. Probably one of the best classes. Later, other classes like Gladiator, like Spirit Master went up regarding the power. Chanter also, but on the start, Ranger was absolutely amazing. And another leather kind of class, wearing leather armor, right, is Assassin, working from the hide, killing from behind kind of class, very viable also in PvP and in PvE, lots of burst damage. Anti-class of this class is Gladiator. On a Gladiator, if you survive that first 3 seconds of burst, then you can kill Assassin. However, Assassin is known as a cloth killer. So in PvP, Assassin will be able to kill cloth kind of classes, Spirit Master and Sorcerer. That is the true power of Assassin. Main thing about this class is a huge burst. Within few seconds you will die. If you can survive those first few seconds, I always knew that on my Gladiator, then I will be fine. I'll be able to kill Assassin. But it's a problem to survive that burst of Assassin, right? So beautiful leather class to play. Also, I wouldn't say it's better than Ranger because it's a melee class. Basically, it's a melee class using daggers as main weapon. However, Ranger is using bow as main weapon, which is a ranged kind of class, right? So let's go further. I still didn't mention 2 ranged classes which are using cloth kind of armor. We have here Spirit Master and Sorcerer, different kind of gameplay style regarding these 2 classes, right? A Spirit Master is using Spirit, it has fear, lots of dots, damage over time skills. Later, Spirit Master is one of the best classes of Aion, without any doubt. When I look at the last 10 years of Aion, probably Spirit Master was the best class for PvP in general, without any doubt, right? Templar was amazing also, Ranger was during its time, Gladiator, Chanter. However, Spirit Master, 1 versus 1, unbeatable class, right? Sorcerer on the other side, high burst of damage, really high damage class in general, right? Also, I need to mention lots of CC skills, right? That is one of the specifics of Sorcerer gameplay, lots of CC skills, beautiful class to play, very viable regarding PvP, very strong against plates, especially against Gladiator, a little bit weaker against the leathers like Assassin and Ranger. Basically, every class in Aion have some anti-class, right? So Mages, amazing burst of damage, strong against plates, however, a little bit weaker, much weaker against Assassin, especially Assassin and Ranger, using weapons which are using cloth kind of classes, Spirit Master and Sorcerer are actually Orb and Spellbook. Regarding weapons, regarding Cleric, I didn't mention that before, you can see here Mace and Shield. Regarding weapon for Chanter is Staff. It can be also Mace and Shield combination if you're going for healing. And which other weapons I didn't mention? I didn't mention that Gladiator is using Polyarm or Greatsword. This class can also wear other types of armor. So it's not only specific for plates that they wear plates. They can sometimes wear chain or even leather if they want, right? So, however, other classes, for example, Mages, they can only wear cloth. They cannot wear plate, right? So also main weapon here, you can see here of a Templar class is sword. It can be some other combination, right? Regarding plates, regarding pick of your weapon, there is huge diversity of weapons. I remember I have played Gladiator for a while even with double maces. Why? Because mace have very high magical accuracy, right? And because of that reason I was getting lots of skill effects. But that's a story for another video, right? So actually, for another live stream, I'm currently doing live stream, I want to talk a little bit about different classes regarding power in PvP. So regarding let's say tier list, some kind of list regarding power of classes in early patch notes of Aion Classic, I would say that Ranger and Assassin, both ladder classes of Aion, are very powerful. Also, don't forget about Sorcerer, absolutely amazing class, and Spirit Master. Later, not at start, Gladiator is becoming one of the strongest classes, and let's not forget about Chanter, absolutely amazing class. Cleric, it was never bad. It was never bad. 1 versus 1, it can kill basically any other class, because it's impossible to kill it. You can't kill Cleric that easy because it can heal itself, right? But then again, it has damage, right? So a Templar, yeah, I have mentioned Templar on the start. It can kill any class. Later, it can kill any class, not at the start, a little bit later patch notes. But one condition, I have said that, you need to have best gear in game. If you don't have it, don't play Templar. Don't even try. However, for example, if you decide to play, let's say Sorcerer or Ranger, you don't need best gear in game. I mean, you need still good gear. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not telling you that you can play naked Ranger or Sorcerer. No, you can't. But you don't need to have best in slot. You don't need. You can play on decent gear, right? So that's the story regarding PvP and regarding power of classes of Aion. If you are watching my live stream, let's go further. If you are watching this as video on my YouTube channel, thank you for watching the video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Twitch to see more of Aion Classic content in the future. I am live streaming every evening about 7 o'clock Central European Time, so join me to see some gameplay and find out what is happening in world of MMORPG gaming and of course in world of Aion Classic. See you soon.